it hasn't been that long since I last spoke to you on the podcast.
This has not.
Yeah, it was at a Homies Award. But it's amazing how much can happen within like that short time span.
Yeah, I mean, it was not even a week and a half. I mean,
Yeah.
By the way, just want to note that the Homie Awards went spectacularly. I came there ready to berate the Homie universe, and instead, I'm still I'm singing their praises.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Homies Award, whether it's been voted on by the Homie Committee or by the actual homies, it always tends to come down to like two movies, no matter how many movies come out.
That's true. And especially today where, you're not going to get like 5 like stellar projects in 1 year. So like the next time that could possibly happen is what? Matt Reeves, Batman.
It's got to be 2026, right? And then when things start to pick back up again?
Yeah, so like Matt Reeves, Batman's that year, right?
Yeah.
2026, and we're also going to get Superman Legacy. No, that's next year.
Oh, man.
Brave and the Bold, we should be getting that year. They're going to release 2 Batmans?
No, the Batman comes out next year in 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, so...
But Superman Legacy
comes out next year as well, so yeah.
Yeah.
So we could get that Captain America 4?
Yeah, New World Order. What about Thunderbolts is trying to get off the ground?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't going to... I mean, it could,
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to.
I know.
We think we're going to get Born Again.
Oh, yeah,
but, but that not to go ahead and rabbit hole us here, but Marvel's been really trying to latch on to the old Daredevil Netflix verse. Have you been seeing this?
I was gonna bring this up to you.
Yeah. Not only so, first they came out and they were like, it's canon. Netflix series is canon, and I'm like, it's clearly not meant to be.
I was like, do you guys know what that means? What that implies, right?
I mean, it could be multiverse.
Yeah,
canon.
that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, really, there's only a couple of like wider MCU references in that.
Yeah.
In Daredevil, you had the reporter who he got like super famous from covering the New York incident with the Chitauri.
Yeah.
And then there's Jessica Jones season 2 or 3 where they have all the references to the raft and all that.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's really
about it. Yeah. I believe one of the Netflix series references vaguely like the Hulk in some regard. I don't remember specifically though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not a whole lot of things tying it in together. Which is kind of wild, right? Because if it is canon to, what they call the 616 universe, then like that subsection of New York is just mostly unbothered by shit that's happened.
Yeah. And not only that, also, like the whole superhero, like the Sokovia Accords and all that shit.
Yeah.
I never heard of any of that.
I mean, Daredevil is a ninja, so maybe he's like, if I just hide, no one.
That's true, yeah. But what about fucking Luke Cage?
Well, clearly they're like, well, he's Luke Cage.
Okay.
Yeah, what are we going to
do? Then a bunch of stories came out where apparently the Echo versus Daredevil fight in the Echo show is apparently like a 6-minute single shot fight.
So have you seen that? Well, not obviously the whole thing, but have you seen the clip they put out?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm trying to just go in blind.
I'll give you one. I'll give you fucking one. God damn it.
But no, I really haven't seen the clip. That wasn't just a lead in. I wasn't just doing a bit. I really haven't seen anything. And I'm trying not to watch any of it,
Yeah. I have seen that clip, and I got to say they are trying to tap into that same feel.
Well, I have heard it is by far the darkest of the Disney Plus shows.
And again, that's not just because Matt is blind.
No. Okay. But apparently, like, it is the most violent of all the Disney Plus shows too. Which, I mean, that's not a high bar. I mean, Hawkeye probably has that right now.
Wow. I guess so, right? I mean,
As far as like straight up violence,
yeah.
I mean, WandaVision is probably the
Falcon
darkest.
and Winter Soldier, right? Like when U.S. Agent when he bludgeons that guy to death.
That's true. That did happen.
Yeah,
but that was off camera. I mean, you know what happens.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Maybe they just mean like on screen. There's going to be some blood and stuff. Is it TVMA? Is it?
I think it is. Yeah, Echo is TVMA.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
And I think that Marvel, like, they're in a position now where they know that, okay, we got to take the kid gloves off, you know, just because, with all due respect, Echo, she's a very respectable character, but I mean, she's not gonna, her name alone isn't gonna drive people to, you know, go and just absorb this TV show. And so announcing that Kingpin and Daredevil is going to be in it, that's a huge get. You know, announcing that it's going to be TVMA is a huge thing. You know, so I think that if nothing else, curiosity would drive a lot of people to go see this TV show.
Well, you know, and we've talked a lot about this, about how Marvel Studios, they didn't build off the A-listers.
Yeah.
The MCU magic was what the toys that were left in the box.
Yep.
And you know, we're going to see if they can make that happen with Echo, because I liked her in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
She was in Hawkeye.
Yep.
I liked her in that. And, you know, I think that they have once again, they have every opportunity. It's a mostly blank slate. I'm going to go in and, you know, with all the optimism I can muster at this point and see what happens. And I hope I'm pleasantly surprised.
I'll tell you this much, like out of the more 3 random TV shows that were announced for Marvel Disney, I'm the most optimistic for this one. Hagatha, whatever the fuck they're calling it now.
Whatever it's called this week. It was Coven of Chaos first, right?
And then...
Actually, originally they were going to call it Agatha All Along, like from the song.
Oh, wow, that's right.
Then they changed it to Coven of Chaos. And then now...
then it was House of Harkness.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to something else.
Yeah, whatever it is now.
Yeah, whatever it is now.
Whatever it is this week.
And I mean, like, again, unless they... I don't really see I don't know what they're going to do with that show. So it's hard for me to even kind of fathom what kind of expectations I should have for that. And, I mean, Ironheart, I thought that was dead in the water, but I guess they're still trying to revive it or do something with it. The last time I heard about it, I like where they were going with it. They were going to include Rhodey and Justin Hammer. You know, I think that those would be really great. I mean... having Rhodey there just for somebody to like tie her to Iron Man in some capacity.
Yeah, considering that we've seen her on screen twice now, right?
Just once, right?
Or just in
Black Panther.
Wakanda Forever. Yeah. And she's never once mentioned anything about Tony Stark or Iron Man. Not once.
If he were alive, he would sue for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that Echo is going to be, at least like for my cup of tea and from what I've seen, I think I might enjoy that definitely the most out of the 3. But yeah, like that, they did show like a snippet of that fight scene, and they're really trying hard to kind of delve into that Daredevil Netflix feel, which is good, you know. It was just a lot of Matt Murdock beating everyone's ass, which is always good, you know. And he looked very confident doing it, which is a very Daredevil thing, you know. So
well, they've got Charlie Cox, man. And
yeah,
like, they should use him.
Use him, yeah.
He's one of the biggest stars they have now,
right?
You know?
Yeah. So I agree. Not to make this a full blown comic news episode. Comic news. But we mentioned Thunderbolts earlier. I'm sure you heard about Stephen Yeun exiting the movie.
I knew it was rumors. Is it official now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's mentioned it on social media now, and he cited his reasoning as for basically scheduling conflicts because of the writer's strike that pushed a lot of things back, and he wasn't able to, I guess, fulfill multiple obligations at one time, and so he had to back out of it.
He won a Golden Globe last night.
Oh, for
Beef.
For Beef. Have you seen that show?
I have not.
It's really good.
What's it about? I know nothing about it.
So it's basically it starts off like a road rage incident, and then it between him and I'm drawing a blank of her name. She's a very funny comedian.
Ali Wong?
Ali Wong, yeah. And she's very good in this as well. But it starts off as like a road race incident between those two. And then it quickly escalates into like fucking damn near violent crimes against one another, trying to one up. But it's like this kind of this dark comedic humor cautionary tale about like letting yourself getting the best of you sometimes. It was really good.
I'll have to check that out. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched. I didn't watch the show, but I did watch Christopher Nolan's speech. Which
how was
it? It was something, man. Because like, it's the most like rocked I've ever seen Christopher Nolan. You know, he's always just so like proper and like put together.
Yeah.
But he was emotional, man, because he gets up there and immediately he's like, the last time I stood on this stage, I was accepting the award for Heath Ledger. You know,
yeah,
and you know, then he starts talking about like everything that went into like the directing for Oppenheimer, and I mean, man, Universal really hit it out of the park with that, because apparently, like, you know, anybody else that comes up and is like, hey, I want to make this 3-hour fucking blockbuster about the dangers of nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And I want to spend $1 bajillion on the cast. I want literally the best fucking cast imaginable. And there's going to be probably 40 minutes of just Cillian Murphy staring off into the distance. And, you know, if it's not Christopher Nolan, you tell that guy to fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, fuck right off. Right. Now.
It's like at this point, if I'm like a film studio exec and Chris Nolan comes to me, like the more confused by the premise I am, the better.
Yeah.
Like go ahead and make it.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like we don't even need to meet. He can just pick up the phone and I'll be like, yeah, you have whatever you need.
Yeah. Just let me know.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He says that the budget for this movie is probably going to balloon to damn near $1 billion. He actually needs to go to the moon.
Like, all right,
well, all right then. Well, okay, we'll figure it out.
That's what he needs. You know, you got to let the man create. Yeah. But I was really pleasantly surprised, man. Oppenheimer just cleaned up.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Cillian Murphy also won, I believe.
Didn't Robert Downey Jr.
won? Yeah. And I think they got best screenplay as well. But people were really shocked that that Barbie didn't do better. But I think they're going to clean up at the Oscars, if I had to guess.
Probably.
I still think Cillian Murphy should get best lead, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so Stephen Yeun, he was actually attached to play Sentry.
Right.
And as far as I know, that had just been strong rumor until it was announced that he was no longer attached to the movie.
Yeah. And it's not a huge loss, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I think that I'm not going to say he was miscast, but I think, man, that's such an interesting choice. Right.
Yeah, when I think Sentry, that just isn't.
Right. I mean, literally, like, you kind of need, like, a Henry Cavill with a fucking blonde wig on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, you think of Sentry as being somebody that's, like, built. You know?
Yeah. You know, someone who can kind of have that kind of stature and pizzazz. And now Stephen Yeun is obviously very tremendous. But yeah, I don't know exactly how that would have gone per se. Hell, I'm even against the idea of putting the Sentry in a Thunderbolts movie. You know, that's for me. That's kind of like putting, I don't know, Darkseid in like a Suicide Squad movie. I'm like, I get what you're doing here, but you gotta have to go a long way to explain to me how they get the job done.
Yeah. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, that's weird. I'm not sure about that movie, man. Like, I mean, Florence Pugh could carry it, but
I mean, I think that enough of the core cast is strong enough.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you got Bucky in it. You know, you got.
What if, like, you know, it's just him narrating over. Speaking of the topic tonight, I will say Sebastian Stan did way better in this season. That
was going to be one of my questions to you. How do you think he did in season 2 compared to season 1?
Well, the thing is, though, he was playing Winter Soldier in most of this one.
That's true.
And Winter Soldier is supposed to be like, you know, But he definitely did better than he did in season 1.
Yeah. And then, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but there was also the moment where I think it was in episode 5 where he plays old man Bucky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, wait, that also works for this as well.
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed that. It felt kind of like Walton Goggins' Invincible performance, just a tad. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, which he fucking nails that shit.
He does, man. Yeah. Walton Goggins has extraordinary range, and he's on like the long list of actors who I wish had better outings in the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, Walton Goggins is like, he had to have read the script for Invincible and been like, "There's not even any racial slurs in here. Why did they want me?"
Are they sure they got the right guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they mean to call me?
Right. Okay. If they're sure about it, all right.
They probably meant to get Bryan Cranston.
That's probably what they meant. Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we just talked briefly off mic. You saw that I have the copy of Mistborn that you gifted me.
Yeah.
And so I recently got just picked that back up again and resumed reading after a hiatus during the Christmas season, which is very
your favorite time of the year.
Let me tell you, my favorite time of the year, not busy at all. And it has been a tremendous read so far. It was kind of incredible actually, because I thought for certain that I would have to do the song and dance. Like, okay, let me go back and just kind of refamiliarize myself with this world and these characters and get back in the mindset of it again and remember what all was going on here. But it was like, as soon as I picked it back up, I was like, oh no, I'm here.
Yeah, and that's good because 13 books from now, you'll need to know certain things still.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard reading in this room because it's like I have the eyes from all the unread omnis that are like, hey dog, so we've been sitting on this shelf now for like 2 years.
Yeah.
When you gonna crack us open?
Yeah, when?
Yeah, and I'm like, hey dog, first of all, you need to shut up, fucking whatever book, because you were on sale when I bought you, all right? Yeah. So you almost didn't make the cut.
What is my purpose? You decorate my shelves.
Decorate my shelves.
Oh my God. They're like, that book ain't even got no pictures in it.
I'm like, shut up, New Mutants Volume 2. I haven't finished Volume 1.
Yeah, I mean, and you know this from our read of White Sand, but, the thing that I know will always grab you in these books is that the character work is bar none.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all believable and nothing seems forced or hokey.
Right.
And all the dialogue always seems like it's how people talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like it's always sell me on the characters because the characters upsell the world,
Right. Yeah, and if you don't care about the characters.
Yeah.
Then who cares?
Exactly.
Like, oh, the world's going to get destroyed. All right, well, cool. I'm going to close this book, and mine's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think Kelsey might be a goddamn psychopath. But that's.
Oh, I mean, how far in are you? Like that doesn't.
Okay, so like after like the epilogue. Yeah. I was like, all right. I mean. He's got reasons, I'm sure, for raising that entire, and that entire town.
Well,
but,
it's kind of like the player haters ball, like, okay, they shot a slave owner, whatever, but then you hear him talk about things, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
It went from Robin Hood to fucking Magneto real
fucking quick, right? And but see, that's what I love, right? Because I mean, clearly Sanderson is very aware of how the character presents, and that is for me is amazing because I've read stories before where hell, even Hickman's X-Men, Hickman didn't stick around to finish it because he was fed up with Marvel. That's a long story, but at the beginning of that run, Professor X presents in a manner where you're like, this is incredible if it concludes with this all being a cult and Professor X is just manipulating everybody. If it doesn't end that way, then this is just shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so it's just like the level of like nuance and how aware the writer is of how characters present. And I'm like, I really like the character work for Kelsey here, because he's clearly presented here in a position as one of our main protagonists, but also like there's some things there, man, that are going on within his mind that are just fucking out there.
Yeah.
And in a good kind of way. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, because like the thing about that book, and it's been a few years since I read it, but like it's the universe is always very present for me. And the thing that always struck me about that is like how Vin is always in over her head, right? Like she's always in this position where she cannot see the big picture. Mm-hmm. Like you just can tell that there's all these kind of external forces, and she's just kind of thrown into the middle of it, and she doesn't know who to trust and how to make heads or tails of things. And to her, Kelsier is this just prolific figure, and he's so charismatic, and he's got all these people following him. And it's like you can definitely envision where some of the members of the crew have had to be like, yeah, he didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't mean it like that. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to finish that, and because I did agree to review it here on the podcast. So
yeah, I am hyped for that.
Yeah,
I'm really hyped. We're gonna do an assembled for that. I think
we are. Yeah.
So Kay and Lauren are gonna join us for that, and I'm just beyond hyped for it.
Oh yeah. But also another episode that I need to go ahead and invite you on now. In early April will be the 10-year anniversary of Winter Soldier.
I'm much happier to come on this one. Yeah, for sure. And then we really got to get Dune out of the way.
We do, and quickly actually, because part 2 comes out
in February.
Oh yeah.
So we got to get Oz and Dylan.
Yeah, ASAP. Yeah. And that's gonna be also really fun.
Yeah, I mean, because it's. When we watch the first part of the new Dune, that's going to be amazing. When we watch the old movie, I don't know how I'm going to suffer that, but I'll try.
Have we decided which one we're doing first?
So the way I would suggest it, because there will be spoilers to an extent, I would suggest that we watch Dune Part 1. Okay.
I was afraid of that.
With fresh eyes.
Okay.
And then we watch part 2 so that, or then we watch the old one so that we can be like, LOL, what the fuck? How are these the same film? And then, we can do part 2 whenever it comes out.
Yeah. I think that'd be more suitable.
Yeah. And also we can temper the awfulness.
Right. Yeah. Balance the scales.
Yeah, we can make an awful sandwich, but with really nice bread.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And just eat the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before we begin, I had something for you.
You have something for me?
For the review of the 10-year anniversary, it's only fair that when we rewatch Winter Soldier, that we also look at the source material for it as well. I was trying to think about, all the times that I've spoken about Winter Soldier on this podcast. It has only been reviewed once back in 2018 when Kevin and I were reviewing the entirety of the MCU.
Yeah.
And so for this one, I was like, okay, well, what if in addition to the review, take a look at the book as well, and kind of where they got their inspirations from. So yeah, that is a copy there of Captain America: Winter Soldier, the graphic novel written by Ed Brubaker. That's a tremendous book. It is the first story arc written by Ed Brubaker on his Captain America run. And oftentimes, those comic book writers get their best shit out first.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because then they start running out of ideas.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's so many iconic drawings of Cap from this, too.
There's so many, yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, this is awesome. I'm definitely going to check this out. So.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was like, I figure, you know, give it to you now, so that way you got plenty of time between now and April.
Yeah, I'm actually, I may, well, I'll probably wait a little bit, so this fresh, but I'm actually about to start a book right now.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be good.
Excellent. Well, with that being said, homies, Happy New Year, and welcome back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and tonight I am here once again with my good friend, my brother, the homie Caleb.
That's right. That's right. You and me forever, Superhero Homies forever, 13 seasons, forever and ever.
Forever and ever and ever, yeah.
I'm going to get that damn McNugget sauce.
Yeah, sign the McDonald's petition now for the homie sauce.
Yeah, right.
No idea what that tastes like.
McDonald's keeps fucking me on the sauces, man. They took away my Szechuan sauce, and then they came out with those two new sauces that were really good, especially the Mambo sauce. That shit was amazing. And then they took that, man, you know.
And it's like, for what, you know?
Yeah, for what?
Yeah.
Just print that shit.
Right.
You know?
You guys not like money?
Yeah, so speaking of money, What If Season 2, man? You just recently finished this, right?
I did. I actually just finished it last night.
Okay.
Yeah. 9 episodes, and I guess Season 1 was also 9 episodes. Yeah. So it tracks. What If Season 1 came out back in, was it August of 2021?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that long, but I guess, it's been a little over 2 years.
Pandemic nonsense.
Yeah. And here we are again for What If Season 2. I remember specifically, I actually, missed out on Season 1 when it came out because I think I was jaded by, some other nonsense that Marvel had put out. That's right. That's what it was, yeah. And I was like, I'm taking a break.
And I was like, I remember watching it, and then I was immediately like, hey, you need to check this out, man. Like, this will cleanse your palate from the Loki nonsense.
And sure enough, I thought that Season 1 was incredible. I really just enjoyed the hell out of Season 1. They understood, the whole idea of what if.
Yeah.
I mean, because originally, just what if, it was just a cool idea for a way for comic writers to, print shit that they would just bullshit about,
Right.
So what if so-and-so became the Hulk instead of Bruce Banner? Like, what would that look like? What if Gwen Stacy didn't die? And hell, look at years later, we see what happens. They just took that shit and really ran with it.
Yeah.
What if Jean Grey, never released the Phoenix? So they just came up with a lot of these cool kind of concepts and ideas and ran with it. And then the TV show really took that and into a whole nother fun and modern direction.
Yeah. I really loved the first season, especially because when you were watching it, you really felt like, okay, this is an anthology.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not going to be any connective tissue between these. And then honestly, man, it almost gave you that, kind of phase 1 feeling where you're like, oh no, these are going to be connected. Yeah. And then we get fucking Visiontron and that, to me was really the redemption of Ultron in the MCU because while everybody loved the performance for Ultron, he was just so, we've talked about Age of Ultron at length about the problems with that. And then here, for him to, really shine as, the main villain of Season 1, there's that fucking amazing, chilling moment where he turns at the Watcher.
Yeah.
And that, to me, was, I think that might be the only time that the MCU has ever made my skin crawl.
Same.
Because I felt that dread. Mm-hmm. You're like, he fucking did what?
Yeah. Yeah, because if the Watcher isn't safe, because the whole idea, right, is that you feel like you're observing this as the Watcher's presenting it to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, well if the Watcher ain't safe.
Yeah. Is he gonna come out my TV?
Right.
And Jeffrey Wright, just kills it.
Yeah,
and
he does.
And did so again this year.
Yeah. If they ever decide to do a live action Uatu, I mean, or at least like in the movie,
Yeah.
He's got to be the one to voice him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did such a good job, and I mean, he honestly doesn't have a ton to do this season, though.
Yeah. He actually does his goddamn job and just watches.
Yeah. There's like one episode where he like tries to intervene,
right?
But
with that being said, like I won't mince words about it. I like season 2. I do not love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if part of that has to do with season 1 setting the bar too high, and I don't know how much of that is it just not being on par with season 1.
Yeah. Season 1 is definitely like a shining example, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you said, like a lot of times you're going to get your best shit out first. So they sat down and they were like, what if, they really put Vision inside of Ultron and he got the fucking stones and went ape shit with it, And then they just really full tilt explored that. And they took all these cool heroes that honestly were better written than most of the fucking mainline MCU movie stars we're getting now.
Yeah.
Because like I'll be honest with you, I'm way more invested in Captain Carter and Strange Supreme than I am in some of these other characters.
Yeah, which is fucking wild, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was to the point where, if you remember, or I don't know if I was there. No, I didn't watch that with you originally. So when No Way Home came out, the second post-credit scene was actually the trailer for
Strange
Doctor Strange
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. Doctor Strange mom, for sure. And that shit came out on Mother's Day, and they thought they were crafty. But I mean, when that trailer came out, we 100% thought that was Strange Supreme.
Yeah.
And I like stood up out of my chair in the damn movie theater.
And again, like, I mean, Captain Carter is also in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, It seemed very much. Did we ever get confirmation? Was that just coincidence, or was it really intended?
For
that both. For What If to give us, Captain Carter and this, Strange Supreme, and then we got the Dark Universe Strange as well as Captain Carter and Doctor Strange mom.
I definitely think that they tried to hint that was Strange Supreme, and then they didn't go there in the movie, even though that would have been amazing.
Oh yeah,
Captain Carter, of course. I think that's got to be intentional because I mean Haley Atwell voices her. Yeah. What did you think about her kind of being the main protagonist this season?
I'll be honest. I don't like the idea of there being a main protagonist outside of Uatu and something like this.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't like Captain Carter. I do.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I would say that I like her in this more than I like what they, would try to do with her in the comics and the few appearances she had. But, on top of that, I like her to the point where I realized that, okay, I really do like this character a lot just because I wish that they had been more creative with her solo episodes.
Right.
It's just because at this point, they're really trying just to retell Steve Rogers' greatest hits, but with Captain Carter, and I'm like, okay, like you could definitely choose worse movies, to be influenced by. Yeah. But man, there's just so much more you could do instead, I think.
I really like the Winter Soldier rehashed kind of deal that they did with her and Black Widow, And a lot of the main cast, reprises their voice roles for this.
Yeah.
Which has always been something that's really cool they do. But, I like that aspect of it. But then as it kind of goes on, you're just like, okay, there's a lot of fucking Captain Carter in this. There were other...
There's other people that we can kind of see.
The Guardians of the Multiverse had like 7 people.
Right.
In it, Let's talk about this first episode, man. Yeah. I really dig that first episode.
I did too. And I don't want to come off as negative because I did enjoy this episode. I just probably wouldn't have put it first. It had such a darker tone to it, and it was a slower pace, which it needed to be, with it being like this kind of mystery, episode. I don't know if I would have put that one first. I think that episode 2 would have made a better first episode.
Yeah. Episode 2 to me was just mid.
Oh yeah,
because it was just like episode 2 to me was like, okay, they're just doing What If Avengers 20 years earlier or whatever.
Basically, and again, this I think comes down to like if these episodes had more time, they could be even more fleshed out, Right. Because I don't think that's a bad idea. Like I would have loved to have seen what T'Chaka would have been like in place of T'Challa, but if we're being honest, they kind of feel like the same character in that episode.
Yeah.
Them getting Bucky or Winter Soldier to be a part of the team was very interesting. Thor was still Thor, which I guess he would have been.
Yeah, he would have been. Yep.
I never needed to see Marvel's bargain bin version of Marvel ever again.
No.
They
I knew you were gonna love that.
Who else was in that? Oh, they had Ant-Man, Ant-Man and Giant Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was.
And Lawrence Fishburne actually was the voice.
I was wondering because it sounded like him, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually him. And and they had the actual Hank Pym Ant-Man. I didn't hate it, but it was just like at some point it just became really predictable, and you're like, okay, I get what you're doing here. Next episode, you know what I mean?
I get you,
especially considering how unique that first episode was.
Yeah,
where we get this totally different take on a lot of characters that we haven't got to spend that much time with.
Right.
So, although what's his name? The villain from Captain Marvel.
Oh, Jan Rog.
Yeah. Still, I mean,
still.
They're like, guess what? Jan Rog was a dick bag, and you're like, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Right. But no, it was that first episode was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
And again, like both like visually and storytelling aspect, it was very dark.
Yeah. So
that was a really cool episode, I thought. Trying to remember, that one also had Howard the Duck in it.
Yeah. So they had that. They had Howard the Duck. They had Groot.
Yep.
And the Rock dude,
Korg, and Meek,
Meek.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was really fun.
It was. Yeah,
I loved that little team up that they did there.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely a ragtag team if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is like I don't hate Korg in any of these episodes.
Yeah, it's because he's not overbearing, right?
He's not 75% of the screen time. It's just random Korg nonsense.
Yeah.
It flashes over to Korg. He says something ridiculous,
right,
and then it goes right back to
exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, the comedic relief is doing its job. What do you know?
Yeah. Who would have fucking thought? What did you think of episode 3?
So, honestly, I had a bit of a lull before I watched it because I saw the title and I was like, oh.
Which, by the way, is What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas?
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like this is not going to be good. I was pleasantly surprised. I actually really enjoyed this episode.
I had the exact same sentiments.
Yeah.
I sat down and I was like...
you get the feeling like it's going to be that thing where it's like all the Avengers are busy and Happy Hogan just stumbles his way into fixing it.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that, but not enough to make you just eye roll from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So I ultimately left that episode being very, very happy with it.
Yeah, it's way better than Iron Man 3. They should have done this instead.
Holy shit, yeah. That would have been great.
Yeah, if they wanted to do a fucking Christmas movie, they could have just made a 90-minute version of this.
Right. I will say this. The one thing that I was kind of hung up on, and I still don't know how I feel about it, even though they kind of brought it back later on, was the Happy Hulk.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, this is fucking weird. Man.
Yeah.
What you think of that?
I like the way that they did it, where you think they're just fighting this fucking monster.
Yeah.
And then it like rewinds, and then turns out that it actually was Happy.
Right.
Yeah, I really liked it, and we got Darcy back, which was cool.
Oh yeah, it's always good to see Darcy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this episode was just great, and I loved all the little like ways that they involved the different Avengers, where they had them being busy doing whatever.
Right, all the MILFs were all over Steve Rogers.
Yeah, yeah, and Tony's like being Santa Claus and all this other shit. Yeah. I loved the character work there, and I mean the stuff with Happy, like it never got just outrageous to the point where like I said, you start rolling your eyes at it. But really loved this episode. It was well done.
Yeah, agreed. Episode 4. What if Iron Man crashed into the Grand Master?
Once again, this actually I think is possibly my favorite episode in the whole season.
This episode was really good. This shit was excellent.
Because, like, it was another one of those things where you're like, oh, the fucking Grandmaster. You're like, Because, you remember.
Yep.
And you're just like, really, a Sakaar episode? And then they tell you, like, the Watcher tells you at the beginning that it's going to be kind of the origin for the Guardian of the Multiverse Nebula, who we see with Thanos' weapon.
Yeah.
And we're like, still to this day, what's up with that?
Right.
You guys just going to not say anything about that? And then you're like, Nebula's not in this.
Yeah.
Or, it's Gamora.
It's
not
Gamora,
Nebula.
yeah,
You're like, Gamora's not in this. Not really. But then the way that they did it was actually really good. I mean, this was kind of like the episode before it was kind of like what if Iron Man 3 didn't suck?
Yeah.
And this is like, what if Thor Ragnarok didn't suck?
Yeah. I'm like, I would have much preferred this.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, I know it was hard for them to get Robert Downey Jr. at the time, and I know it was a Thor movie, but like
it would have been the best bait and switch ever,
I'm going to tell you, it's been a while, since we've got one of those like, oh man, they just did something cool as fuck with Iron Man moments. That shit where he like the suit turns into the car, and then he like flips out of it at the end, and like the car like comes apart, and like the suit slides onto him.
Right.
I was just like, that shit was fucking excellent.
See, I had the same thought, but like I couldn't stop thinking about it, right? And I was like, motherfucker, if you had that shit, that fight on Earth would have been a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Like you're like a few movies too soon for this, I feel.
Yeah, that whole thing was fucking epic. Like, I actually, like I said, I think this is my favorite episode. Valkyrie was great in it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Right.
Once again, Korg did his job.
Right.
There wasn't 90 minutes of Korg.
Right.
And I actually really loved the angle that they went with Gamora on this.
Same. And that's something interesting, right, about the character of Gamora in the MCU is that they really have used a lot more restraint and subtlety with her character. And I wish they would kind of apply that to other characters sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because, like, in Guardians 3, in the hands of anyone else, her and Peter would have got back together at the end of that movie,
And they would have went super just way out into fucking left field with her like being like bitchy and not remembering anything. And with something like this, they could have easily gone into the whole. They could have easily rushed it, and she's like, "You know what? You're right. My dad is there's a whole bag of dicks, and I'm going to fight against him now." But they went with the less is more approach, which really helped. It just helped sell the character. Also, that scene where they killed the Grandmaster.
Oh my gosh!
I absolutely I lost my shit. I was laughing my ass off. He's like, "Oh, I'm melting. This is kind of nice." Actually.
Right.
Yeah. It was very Jeff Goldblum. I don't know if Jeff Goldblum actually voiced him or not.
I was gonna say right because I'm not sure. Did they have RDJ for all of those voice acting appearances in season 2?
I don't know if RDJ was any of them.
Was in any of them?
Yeah, so
that's bold as fuck.
Jeffrey Wright, Haley Atwell, Jon Favreau, Kate Blanchett actually voiced Hela. We'll get to that in a minute. They got Clancy Brown back as Surtur. Okay, I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessary.
They got Josh Brolin back. Thanos has like 5 lines in this.
Maybe they could have got those lines from anywhere though. You know.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, Kat Dennings, Michael Douglas, Idris Elba. Karen Gillan. Seth Green actually voices Howard the Duck. Oh, yep. Jeff Goldblum is back. They got Frank Grillo to be Crossbones.
Oh, yeah.
Hemsworth, of course, does all of Thor. Hiddleston is back. Samuel Jackson. They actually got Jude Law to be Yon-Rogg again. We knew they got Sam Rockwell. Nobody else can do Justin Hammer. Fucking that we didn't talk about that in the happy episode. Fucking Justin Hammer, just perfect.
Yeah. So fucking perfect.
Always.
Yeah.
There's no Robert Downey Jr. at all.
Wow.
Yeah. But they actually got Kurt Russell for Ego.
I thought so.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. It's bold as fuck to do an Iron Man centric episode with no Iron Man. Oddly enough, I didn't notice it in this episode. It was in a later episode where I was like, wait a minute. I don't think that's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Well, they made an Iron Man movie with no Iron Man in it, so, you know. What the hell?
God damn. Oh, shit. Yeah. You thought Robert Downey Jr. was in Iron Man 3?
Wrong! No, he is in it. He's just not playing Iron Man.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, that button's going to get pressed every episode now, just about.
Oh, God. And I fucking hate... Okay, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I also thoroughly enjoyed episode 5.
Well, here's where we're going to start to diverge.
Yeah. Really?
Okay. I didn't dislike this episode.
Yeah, so, okay, here's the thing, right? I am of two minds with this episode, right? Because on one hand, I'm like, this is... okay, so on one hand, I'm basically like, if they never made Winter Soldier, I would just be fucking over the moon.
Yeah.
You know, with this episode. But on the other hand, I'm like, even though I was very on the fence in the beginning, like they really do a good job of selling me on like the dynamic between Peggy and Black Widow.
I agree. That was good. I love the Winter Soldier stuff.
Yeah.
Where they kind of like scene for scene for some of those, you know, and showing how like Peggy and Steve are not the same person. Like Peggy reacts differently to it than Steve did.
Yeah. And
I think that's an important distinction to make so that you're not just like, oh, this is just, you know, Captain America with a vagina. However, when it gets into Black Widow territory, that's when I was like, okay, you know.
So I am with you. However, like the 10 minutes of Black Widow stuff is better than the Black Widow movie.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of following the theme here for these last few episodes, where it's like, what if we had made a good movie?
Yeah, man. And I mean, they had to do something there with Black Widow, just so she could have some kind of other arc in this.
Yeah.
And so it didn't really bother me that much. I do just wish that they had the opportunity though to I love the fact that we got to go back and see what Captain Carter's up to.
Yeah.
So it's not really something about this episode that bothers me so much as it is, at this point, it is kind of the Captain Carter show.
Yeah. From here forward, we have the next episode.
Yeah.
But this is the Captain Carter show, pretty much.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, I would not mind an animated Captain Carter TV show at all. Right. I would really dig that. But this is What If.
Yeah. Yeah, and like there's 9 episodes and she's the main character in like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. But no, seeing the Hydra Stomper Steve, it's almost a mouthful there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing Hydra Stomper Steve come back was really cool. And they said they couldn't remove him from the suit. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Is it like wired into his like nervous system?
Right.
Or,
or is it just so much shit that is caked in tight?
Yeah.
Because there's no bathroom in there, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. See, there's, so they have like a tube that goes up his ass, and the suit actually converts his poop to like energy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's next level.
Yeah, but I don't know how he eats.
Yeah, that's a good question, too. Well, the helmet does come up, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, so he can just,
Yeah, he can just visit the chip vendor or whatever and get him some food.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that is What If Captain Carter Fought the Hydra Stomper.
So I know we are going to split on this next one hard.
Okay.
Because I loved this. I know why you don't, and I can see why you don't, especially, and I have a feeling we've talked. This is the only one I think we've talked about off mic, but we didn't go into specifics.
Yeah,
I think the reason that you hate this is because it is so close to Carol's story, right? Like her powers come from the Tesseract, and she is pretty fucking OP. Whereas like Kahori though is actually like has a struggle, like she actually does have an obstacle to overcome.
I try to remove Captain Marvel from memory whenever possible, so I wasn't even thinking about about her. The reason why I don't like this episode is because who the fuck are you? And it's the exclamation point on the sentence of there's 9 episodes, there's so much we can do, and instead you guys choose to make this character this character out of the blue, literally, with vague powers, which is like that's the MCU stamp of we just made some shit up. Are they just vague powers that you don't know what the fuck they really are?
And I do dislike that.
Yeah,
but I liked Kahori as a character. Like I liked the origin, and I
feel like we've seen this origin so many times.
Well, I also applaud the idea that they would use this to have something this wild happen, right? Because normally these episodes are, well, what if this one thing was a little bit different? Mm-hmm. Whereas this, they were like, the Tesseract ended up on a different fucking planet.
Yeah.
And it's way off the rails, right? To the point where this entire culture develops like a fucking afterlife because of the Tesseract. Yeah. And like, I really liked the way they went with that. I don't know if I would say we've seen this exact origin, maybe like a similar struggle of sorts, but it just didn't feel, it felt fresh to me.
Yeah, so to me it just, I don't know, man, it felt very tropey. Group of people get attacked by evil foreign people, by hook or by crook, one of them escapes, they overcome, they're faced with adversity, you never guess what happens, they overcome it. As soon as old buddy said, "Yeah, don't worry, Kahori, no one gets the magic fruit on the first try," I'm like, "Let me guess what's gonna happen next." And and so it's just we're going through the motions here, and I'm like, the only thing that this has to do with anything Marvel is that at the very beginning of the episode, they tell you that all this came from the Tesseract.
Right.
Other than that, this could be any Disney property I'm watching right now.
And there's no, this is a completely original character, right? Like,
yeah.
Not from any pages anywhere.
No. Yeah. So they just completely made her up, which I'm like, kudos for, coming up with something new. But man, in a show like What If, when there's so many other underserved characters, so many other unique kind of dips or turns you could have taken, I don't know if I know I would not have gone this direction.
She's going to be in Secret Wars. Watch.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Am I wrong? You think I'm wrong?
I fucking hope you are.
You know I'm not, though. And we have to have this discussion, too.
Yeah.
Like, I I like the idea that they put that they made like a Native American superhero. I think that is a area where the representation is super lacking, and I thought it was fucking cool.
Yeah.
I agree with you about the powers though. Like I would definitely like a much more specific power set.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not just like the plot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, by the way, there's Warpath and Thunderbird, 2 Native American Marvel characters. I get it; they're mutant, so they don't want to pull the trigger on them yet. But they to some degree do exist.
Kamala.
She's not Native American.
But I'm just saying she's a mutant, so like you might as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you might as well. So like, what the fuck are we waiting on then? Like y'all gonna tiptoe into this shit for how long?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like it was just it was an episode of television that I think could have been applied to damn near any TV series, but they chose to put it here in What If.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh fuck! I forgot the next one.
I fucking hated this. This is the worst episode.
So yeah, episode 7. What if Hela found the 10 rings?
They could have done 8 episodes. I could have done without this. I love Kate Blanchett. You know, I am a huge fucking Lord of the Rings, just absolute fan. It makes me very sad to see what Amazon has done to Galadriel. That's a different episode though.
Yeah, man, you haven't reviewed Rings of Power yet.
Anyway, so this episode was dog shit, and I really hated it a lot. They could have left this out.
I think, for me, one easy thing could have saved it. Wouldn't have made it great, but one easy fix could have turned it around for me, and that is, you don't have to have every single character make a face turn at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would be completely fine with Hela getting the 10 magical bracelets. I refuse to call them the 10 rings. They are not. And again, you can tell it's made by Marvel Disney because they're just fucking vague power set. Don't know what the fuck they really do.
This is a very like this episode is very Disney also. Like
it is. Yeah.
It has it's got some hardcore like Mulan vibes.
It does, right?
Yeah.
And there was such a corny line that poor Kate Blanchett had to deliver at the end of this episode. I forget what it was, but it was something like, "You can't fight darkness with darkness, only with light."
Yeah.
And I was like, that was some cringe right there.
Yeah. Like, and yeah, I was like, I bet she had to re-record that like 90 times and hated all of them.
She said in one recording, it was Sebastian Stan saying it, hoping that no one would notice.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have left this out. This was bottom of the barrel for me.
And again, like I would have really been able to digest this episode more so. Just let Hela be evil. Right? I mean, like, does she have some magical face turn at the end of Ragnarok? She doesn't. So let her. Like, I don't see what happens in this episode that will lead to her having this sudden change of heart and ideology.
The thing is, when Odin does the whole, whosoever he does the spell or whatever, I'm like, okay, they better not one for one just do the first Thor movie with her. And then they have her land here, and I was like, okay, so they're going to do it like, fuck your powers then. I'm going to go get my own powers. Mm-hmm. And she gets the 10 rings. And I was like, okay.
Right.
This could be interesting. We're going to get a cool ass like Hela versus Odin fight because that would be hella cool. And
you suck.
You loved it. Everyone at home loved it. And and so I was like, yeah, this will be great. But the way it went, exactly like you said, it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. And I'm not even mad at seeing Hela come back. I mean, they got Kate Blanchett, so she's back for a couple episodes.
Yeah.
I just, again, wish they had something more interesting for her to do. You know,
it's like I thought you were going to make it tropey and predictable, and then I thought you were going to make it interesting, and then you just made it bad.
Yeah, right. The next episode. What if the Avengers assembled in 1602?
These are damn near like a part one, part two.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I thought that they were mid.
So, I enjoyed them. I'm not going to say there was ever a point where I was like, I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah.
But I think these 2 episodes especially are where we go back to season 1 set the bar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in season 1, you had the Guardians of the Multiverse come together to fight Visiontron with all the Infinity Stones. Holy shit. Whereas in this, it's just like, okay, we've got weird eldritch horror Avengers something or another. And then they kind of try to make it a convergence thing. And that's vague too. And then, I don't know. And I liked the whole idea of like Peggy kind of getting stranded there. And then Uatu being like, well, I can take you home right now.
Yeah.
And then her making that choice of like, no, like I'm going to leave this place. Like I'm here. I'm going to help these people. And Uatu's like, okay, well, like even if you fix this whole place is probably done.
Yeah.
And you know, I loved that that character choice that she makes here. But other than that, I mean, by this point, this is where it was like, okay, how many Steve Rogers are we going to have?
Right.
This episode felt super Wonder Woman 84 with her and Steve.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That all their interactions reminded me of that film.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing for the record.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I didn't really love their interactions here.
Yeah. So yeah, we can kind of talk about these last 2, you know, and kind of like in tandem. Yeah, and then, you know, for the last episode, episode 9, they brought back my new favorite character. Oh, good old Kahori. What if Strange Supreme intervened, right?
I believed you for a minute. I was like, oh, okay. So, let me tell you what I don't like about this.
Okay.
I don't like that they took Strange Supreme back to this. Like, he had that whole amazing arc where his whole arc was him learning the consequences of ambition, right?
Yeah.
Of him having that, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And he saw where that got him. His entire universe basically imploded on itself. And then, you know, we had this kind of like interesting redemption arc for him with the Guardians of the Multiverse thing.
Right.
And then it's like, motherfucker, you still didn't learn?
Yeah. Yeah. Still didn't live. Still went back to it again. I'm like, man, it was so uniquely dark and poetic for him at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
You know, had we left it that way with him, would have been great. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can bring him back, but like you said, we don't have to go down that same road again with this character, you know?
Yeah.
But to more definitive ends this time. Like he like you said, he didn't learn.
No.
And so he tries to run it back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, it ain't worth the first time, but the remake's really gonna get y'all.
And this is where they just started with the cameos. They did the zombies, and I hated where they brought in
Scarlet Witch.
No, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, kill him! Oh, that shit.
Scene.
Yeah, man. I'm like, look, if y'all didn't want to pay Michael B. Jordan, you know, to come back and record some lines, then y'all didn't have to do this.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, just leave him out.
Yeah,
because they basically just Captain Carter just kind of wrecks him, right? I mean,
no. Kahori uses her vague magical ass powers and just teleports him out the suit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
into the battlefield.
Yeah, you know, his suit that has all the Infinity Stones.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
And then Captain Carter just is fine. Like, she just knows how to use all that shit.
All that shit. She's got Hela's helmet. Obviously she knows how to use the shield. Anyway, she's got Mjolnir.
Yeah.
And she's got like a fully loaded Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was, it felt like they were trying to do some like Batman Mobius chair shit,
yeah.
Where it's just like she's just got all the artifacts from around the realms or whatever, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, and for me, like that was kind of a telltale sign. It just felt like they had run out of steam when it comes to creativity. When you start throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, and when you start with just because episode 9 is basically, I would say 75% action.
Yeah.
And then 25% story. I think that's very giving.
Yeah.
At those ratios. But most of it is just straight up action. And don't get me wrong, the visuals and the action, they're always phenomenal in this show. And they do such a great job with it. It looks really cool. But man, if you take a step back and look and see what's really going on underneath the hood, you're like, there's not much more to this episode than the action.
Yeah, not to mention like the fight with Strange.
Mm-hmm.
It everything that they did felt rehashed.
Yep.
Like they did the whole. It's kind of like, the whole thing where people are pissed about them remaking movies that were good the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, go back and remake the stuff that people hated.
Right.
Give us a new era, like an Aragon remake. And that applies to this season where it's like, okay, we're going to give you a better Black Widow, a better Ragnarok.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, do that. And then it's like, okay, but now you're trying to recreate like Thanos versus Strange, which was fucking perfect the first time.
Yeah.
And then this just this pales in comparison.
Yeah.
So you're trying to retread your best work, and that does not work. I mean, it just doesn't. It falls flat here. And none of it felt good. Like, there was not a good resolution for Strange Supreme here. Like, none of it felt fulfilling.
They were like, and he dead.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
Well,
okay.
I liked that character.
Yeah. And, also, like, wouldn't it have made just a little bit of sense had the other Guardians of the Multiverse maybe
show up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get Party Thor at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, he didn't show up at all this season.
No Party Thor.
Yeah.
We barely got Gamora, and Gamora was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Gamora's awesome anyway, but that Gamora is amazing.
So they did have a Killmonger for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh man, who else is in that?
Captain Carter.
Yep.
Well, there is actually a Black Widow in it, right? Like it's actually her, or
is it? Oh, you might be right.
I thought so. Hold on, let me look here.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. T'Challa Star-Lord.
Yeah. T'Challa Star-Lord is in it. But yeah, it's actually Natasha though, like as Black Widow.
Okay.
And then Strange Supreme.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, like this show, especially season 1, is so good with the red herrings, right? Like to make you think that one thing is happening, but then in reality, it's something else entirely. It's kind of like the Rick Lantis episode of Rick and Morty. How you think that they're gonna go down to fucking SeaWorld and do something. But then it's actually this whole other episode altogether.
Yeah.
So much of What If season 1 was that. And I'm like, man, if they could have pulled that off with like season 2, and I mean, like I just think it would have been really fucking cool. And, I don't want to sit here and play, Monday morning quarterback and talk about what I would have done. But that's exactly what I'm going to do anyway.
I was gonna say, and it's Monday night anyway.
Yeah, it is, and it is Monday night. So yeah, fuck it. What would you have changed about this season or any of these episodes to kind of make them more palatable for you?
I mean, to me, if you're gonna do the Strange Supreme bit, which I wouldn't have done, but if you were going to do it, I would have had Uatu get the Guardians of the Multiverse back together, and then like you get there and find out the big bad is Strange Supreme the whole time.
Right.
that would have been an interesting way to go about it. Certainly more interesting than what they did. But I think, yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have done that fucking old school Avengers episode in episode 2. Mm-hmm. I would have got the Guardians of the Multiverse back together. You can't hit the same beats you hit in the first season.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to do something interesting, but I definitely wouldn't have gone this route. Like I said, I like the Kahori stuff. I would have probably kept that in. I would have taken the Hela 10 Rings episode out for sure. Probably episode 2 with the old school Avengers bit. Probably would have also taken that out. Yeah, I don't know, man. It is hard to imagine what they could have done that would have surpassed the Visiontron arc. But, you know, there's always stuff you could do. You could take some of the MCU's misses and turn them into hits. I mean, hell, that they could have done an actual like good twist on the Mandarin.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, third time's the charm.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I didn't mind the Mandarin in Shang-Chi.
I mean, it way better than what we got. You know.
Yeah, but the problem was at the end that it turned into the damn CG fest.
Yep.
So they could have done something cool with that. There's a lot here that they really could have done. I just would have liked to have seen maybe a little less Captain Carter, a little more of the other Guardians of the Multiverse, and I don't know, give Uatu something to do in this one too, because he's not in this a whole lot.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird to say.
Yeah, and it seems like if you were going to do that, you would have flipped it, right? Like you would have done that in the first season.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like we loved the that moment where Visiontron looks at him. But like if he had gone the whole first season and never intervened at all, and then we get that at the end of the second season, everybody would have like been rocked by it.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen that meme going around? I saw it actually on it was a Baldur's Gate 3 post, right? And it was
True level.
And it was talking about how there's people out there that are just so like nose up in the air for people that save scum. Like you save scum, and guys are just the worst. Just enjoy the game for what it is. And someone made like a meme of like the interaction, and they said something like. Doctor Strange beat Dormammu by save scum. What makes you think that I won't?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. Yeah, he did.
He really did.
Yeah. He was gonna get that nat 20 one way or a fucking another.
All the inspiration. All right, reload.
Yeah. So there are a few changes I would have made. I didn't mind episode 2 that much, man. I just wish again that. Some of the episodes had been a little bit longer so that we could have gotten more character interaction. And that's the only thing I really would have hard changed for episode 2.
I didn't hate to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It feels like episode 2, you're doing a big team up. Mm-hmm. It's like if you were going to bring the Guardians back together, you wouldn't want to do that twice.
Yeah.
So it seems like they kind of did that episode in lieu of bringing back the Guardians of the Multiverse. And let's be honest, like that's who we really wanted to see here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you already know I would have that Kahori episode it needs to go.
That's how I feel about the Hela episode.
Man, so that one I think needs to go too. Cause it's like, man, I think like in my mind's eye, I can like chop and edit and piece together something, but ultimately it's a Frankenstein mess. So it would probably also go. I wouldn't mind a Hela episode, but just not that.
Yeah.
Well,
they had the whole deal where like her and Thor actually like ruled together.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen something like that.
Oh yeah, that would have been great.
Where maybe like you know
what about Thor and Hela? They reign together, right? And then the only person who can stand up against them is. Or the God Butcher.
Yeah.
Talk about a fucking redemption.
Yeah, right. I actually was going to go another way with it of like, what if he had sealed Loki up instead of Hela?
Oh,
you know? But, yeah, I mean, That would have been a cool deal.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, I mean, yeah, bring fucking Gore the God Butcher in here. That would have been incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know what it takes to get Christian Bale in the booth, you know.
Well, he's the lead in The Boy and the Heron, the new Studio Ghibli.
The Studio Ghibli, is he?
And it won Best Animated Picture at the Golden Globes last night. Yeah, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so our boy is still killing it.
Still killing it. I saw a random video the other day online. It was him doing the voice work for the 2005 Batman Begins video game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, he voiced that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit was random as fuck. Yeah, anywho, I think that also, man, like, listen, it's what if, right? If you guys want to test the waters with, like, little to no consequences, you can do an X-Men episode.
Yeah, right?
Like, you really can.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want here.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want here. Stop fucking around in the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like...
Do an Agatha episode and see if people fucking like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Before you spin off a whole show about this character. Look, everybody likes the actress,
yes,
right? And we thought that she did a good job in WandaVision, but this show is going to be a fucking nightmare. And not in the good way. Not in the way they think it is. Right.
They're like, that's a good name for it. Agatha Harkness, Night of Nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the Agatha Harkness TV show, man, I don't even think we have a concrete premise for it yet. And if we do, it's probably changed as many times as the title has. And honestly, man, I think that I don't know how they do this to any degree of real success without Scarlet Witch. So, yeah, just doing the Agatha Harkness show with no Scarlet Witch, no real solid premise. I don't really know what chance this show stands. I don't really know if they have an idea as to what they want the show to be. So, yeah, it's gonna be tricky and interesting to see what they do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel like it's like you said, if you're gonna mess around, do it here. This is your canvas. And I haven't really seen, like, most of the stuff that I've seen about the Kahori episode has been positive. I think people have liked it.
Yeah, people also really love Ragnarok, and so I'm just gonna give it a couple years, and people will be like, you know what?
And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that, like, if they were gonna test the waters with something, that this is a good place to do it.
It is. It is a good place to do it. Yeah, and I just wish, man, if you're gonna test the waters, then shit, man, try with something that's waterproof.
Yeah.
There are other things I love to see, man. Like, I think doing an episode that for example, right, I was almost getting ready to, like, have my dick blown back in the 1602 episode because I thought that the man in the iron mask was gonna be Doom.
Yeah, I thought so for a second too, man. But I was cool with the way they used Bruce here.
Me too, but with all due respect, like, we've seen Bruce Banner, you know what I mean?
That's true, but he also is on a bit of a redemption arc. Let's not forget. Endgame's an amazing movie, but not for everyone.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, we need a what if episode. What if the Hulk wanted to run it back with Thor, and so, like, he grabs, like, fucking space and time stones and, like, house back, beats the shit out of Thanos, and just like had to prove to people I could do it.
Right? Yeah, of course. I mean, it seems like this would be the place to do, unless you're planning on doing it in the live action. Do a Maestro Hulk.
Oh yeah.
This is the place for that if you're not going to ever use them in live action.
Yeah. Outside of, like, the season 1 Strange Supreme episode, has there been an episode of What If that kind of ended on, I don't want to say a dour note, but like it doesn't end happily ever after ish?
Yeah, I mean, most of them tend to, right? Like most of them tend to have at least a somewhat good ending. I would say like the penultimate episode of season 1, all right, because at the end of that episode, Visiontron is wrecking shit,
right?
But I mean, they're following the Infinity War Endgame formula at that point, and we had already seen that, and so we know that you know, we knew where they were taking us at that point. Yeah. It's still great.
Oh yeah,
you know, but
it's I don't know. I think because right now it almost feels like, okay, it doesn't really matter what happens because it's going to end on a good note. And again, it doesn't always have to. Shit, like it can end on kind of a dour note, like the Strange Supreme episode in season 1, where, you know, his episode ends with him being like, well, shit, I sacrificed everything to get this one thing back and it didn't work. And now here I am on my fucking throne of bones or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing more episodes like that, you know.
So, an interesting note, apparently they have greenlit a season 3 already.
They have, and they cut it episode 2, didn't they?
Yeah, there's a Red Guardian-centric episode that it features Bucky Barnes, Bill Foster, and Ranger Morales. And that was originally intended to go into the second season, but it's been pushed back to season 3.
That is interesting. That's the second time they've done that, right? Because they cut an episode from season 1 too. It was a Nebula episode.
Yeah, that episode 1 of this season?
Might have been. Or was it the Nebula episode or Gamora episode they cut from season 1?
Oh, you know, it was actually that Grandmaster episode.
Oh, yeah. That was incredible. So it's weird to think they cut that.
Well, because they actually referenced that in season 1. They were like, she says, like, I fought with Iron Man on Sakaar or whatever. Yeah. You're like, bitch, what?
Right.
No. Flashback. Yeah. Flashback.
Right.
I don't know what this episode is, but we're going to see it.
Yeah. That's right. They did reference that.
Yeah, and so it was awesome that we got to,
see it.
It's the best episode, man. I loved it.
I think it might be. The only thing for me holding it back, and you may be able to guess what it is, and again, like it's a very small thing because it's done well in this episode. You know how I feel about like chase scenes and like this is very pod racy right now.
Yeah, when they said they were going to do a race, I was like, but I think they did it as well as you can.
Yeah, they did. I didn't know the Grandmaster had a whole Hot Wheels track.
Yes, car. He's a very bored individual,
right?
With infinite resources,
doing everything except for feeding people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But again, man, there's just so much good that could have did, right? Just to test the waters. Hell, here's an easy one. What if the devourer of worlds came to Earth?
Yeah.
What if fucking Galactus shows up? Yeah. What the fuck you gonna do now, you know?
What if Marvel ended up with the Tesseract and not Carol?
Oh my gosh. What if Marvel was really in these goddamn movies?
Right, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is there anything that you would like to see in season 3?
What if Kevin Feige listened to Iman Vellani when she texts him? No,
I think he's got her blocked at this point.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, especially after she made that comment about you got to make people care about the characters.
Yeah,
they're just like, turn that shit off. Get that shit out of here. Well, I feel like I've said this a lot, man. I feel like Disney is forever. I don't know if cursed is the word, because a curse implies that you don't have any control over it. But have you noticed? And we've talked about it before, but like Marvel and Star Wars, they can never get them right at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, first 3 phases of the MCU, we have the fucking sequel trilogy going on. Absolute dog shit trash, right? And then as phase 4 starts, we start to get Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and and it was right around the time where they churned out, I think, the first season of What If, that we got the god awful fucking Kenobi show.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like, and then Star Wars has been kind of hitting lately, and with Ahsoka and Mando season 3, even though nobody thought it was as good as 1 and 2, but still. I mean, nobody left like, oh man, this is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's like it's impossible for them to get both right at the same time. So they're about to come out with this Rey movie, right? And that's getting all the negative press right now. Kevin Feige's like, oh my God.
Right. Yeah. Thank fucking God. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy.
Thank God, Kathleen Kennedy. You're back. Kevin Feige's like, oh, I'm going on vacation. Kathleen's back in the news.
Holy shit.
Did you see that god-awful quote from the director of the Rey movie?
So I did, but I do have to give her a little bit of slack there, because I think that what she said has been taken out of context. For the record, she said something along the lines of, what was it? She wants, I forgot exactly. It was.
The thing I think she's saying been taken out of context. She said it's about time that we had a Star Wars story that was shaped by female hands. She said something along those lines. I may be paraphrasing a bit. And what I think she meant to say was, she's the first female director of a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But that's not what you said.
That is not what you said.
Like, first off, let's not pretend that from 2015 on that there hasn't been a woman at the head of all of Star Wars.
Right.
That has had the final yes or no on literally everything, right? And then let's not also, like I'm not here to defend Kathleen Kennedy. Fuck her. But for you to say something like that, you are completely overshadowing Deborah Chow, who directed several episodes of Mandalorian.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Also the Kenobi show. Oh, I was going to get there. And then Bryce Dallas Howard, who, if you guys gave her a Star Wars trilogy right now, we would all breathe easy.
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh, okay, that's going to be good. That's going to come out. Take your time, do whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Show me when you're ready. Come back when you're ready to show me the trailer.
Yeah.
And then I would just go relax somewhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to worry about whatever the fuck they're doing. But yeah, no. So that is what really got to me is it's like, on the one hand, it's like literally the person in charge of all of Star Wars for the last decade is Kathleen Kennedy, right? Mm-hmm. I was going to say for better or for worse. For worse or for worse. For worse or for worser.
Worserer.
And then for you to just kind of act like Deborah Chow and Bryce Dallas Howard don't exist.
Yeah.
And Bryce Dallas Howard, who has absolutely killed it every time she's been in the chair. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know anything about this lady, but she spoke very poorly.
She did. And unfortunately, every time she talks, she doesn't do herself any favors, right? like there's another quote where she says, "I'm not a filmmaker, I'm an activist." And I'm like,
well, then go do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure you make a much better activist than a filmmaker then. That's what that tells me.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were to bring me your vehicle and it needs a new transmission, and I said, well, I'm not a mechanic, I'm an engineer, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave it with me.
Right. And so again, like she does have other quotes that have also been taken out of context, or things that she said from 7 years ago that has no bearing or impact on the movie she's making now. And again, I'm not trying to defend this lady. I just don't want any shots to fly her way that's undeserved. She still has like 1,000 shots flying her way that she does probably deserve. But then there's like these few that she does not,
Yeah.
So, with that being, because like also, let's be honest here, right? This new Star Wars Rey movie comes out. That movie's going to give us all the ammunition we need to talk any kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to absolutely bomb.
No one has asked for this, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, it's so sad because it's like, do you guys finally want more Star Wars movies? Yes. All right then.
Well, and see, here's the thing, man. As I guarantee you that they're gonna like figure this out, and the trailer is going to have Frank Oz, Ghost Yoda, and Luke. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they fucking get like a Force Ghost Hayden Christensen in there, or they're going to do something to give you that twinge of, oh, this won't be sequel trilogy nonsense. Yeah. But it's going to be worse than that. It's going to be like, imagine the sequel trilogy without Oscar Isaac.
Oh, fucking shit.
And what's his name?
John Boyega.
And John Boyega, yeah. Who, we all thought was going to have this amazing fucking arc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spoiler alert. He did not.
He did not. No one did.
No one did, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's to bring us back to the what we're actually talking about here. It seems like Star Wars is about to go on a fuck up for a few years. So maybe, maybe the pendulum will swing here.
That's right. Yeah.
And we'll get some good. We're about to get Echo,
We're about to get Echo, and again, I think it comes out in just a couple of weeks, actually.
Now, whenever Filoni gets Edge of the Empire going, you watch out for whatever the fuck comes out. That's when Agatha's going to come out.
I'm going to need him to wait until like after, Secret Wars.
They're going to be like, man, it's weird that Disney would put Edge of the Empire out like a month before Secret Wars. We're like, no. They're going to not Edge of the Empire. They're going to call it Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
There's no way they don't call the movie that.
That's listen, those titles they sell. Yeah. I mean, they do. Like, Marvel naming a movie Infinity War. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They did it with Civil War. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, these are big fucking marquee stories.
I just want to point out that I called that shit on the air back, I think, in the Mando Season 2 review.
Yeah, you did call that years ago. You did. There are receipts.
And now everyone's just like, you think they're really going to make an Heir to the Empire movie? I'm like, he's fucking standing right there. Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't Dave Filoni, I would say they're going to make a movie called Heir to the Empire.
Well, and that's still going to be what it is, obviously. But, I think Filoni will stick it as close as you can in the current canon.
Right.
Whereas someone else would have just called it that and then did whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been the Gore the God Butcher Taika Waititi edition.
Fucking hell. Shit. One more thing, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up here. And that is, I don't know if you've heard, but there are actually current heavy reshoots with Captain America 4, which also underwent a name change. It went from New World Order to Brave New World.
I wonder if WWE was like,
that could have been it. Actually,
you're gonna have to pay us the money,
right? They're like, so about Hogan's cameo in this.
Yeah.
Apparently, and again, this is just going off of reports, but the test screening that they did show for Cap 4 did not do well at all. That had me worried for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know what was part of that test footage. I still don't even know what the solidified premise is. I've only heard gesturings that it was about they were finally going to address the giant aborted Celestial in the middle of the fucking ocean, and that it was actually going to be made out of adamantium, and that it has adamantium on it, and that there's going to be a big fight over that. But now, with all the reshoots going on, we don't really know what to expect. Brave New World sounds a lot happier than New World Order.
Yeah.
And again, I don't really know what to make of that name change either. I'll say this. I think that one positive thing that did come out of the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show is we got to see the middle area between Cap giving Sam the shield and Sam becoming Captain America.
I agree. As rocky as you perceive that being, you know, like whether you loved it or hated it, we needed to get it.
Yeah.
I think what we got was better than the absence of it.
Agreed.
And that's the nicest thing I can really say about that series, I think. But
if it had come out like today, I'd be like, yeah.
Oh yeah, if it came out right now, I'd be like, oh well, the next Star Wars thing is going to be really bad. But at the time it came out, it was like we were all coming off of that that Endgame bust.
Yeah.
And
we're all expecting Winter Soldier TV format.
Yeah. We got all those cool announcements, and then like WandaVision came out, and like we didn't even care about that, and then it was like, oh no, this is really good.
Yeah.
And we're like, how good is Falcon and Winter Soldier gonna be? And then 4 episodes later, we were like, how good is Falcon and Winter Soldier gonna be? Because we still aren't sure.
Yeah. And then the whole "you got to do better" speech at the end, because man, that always works.
That speech was awful. The fact that they had 6 episodes and 8 plots.
The fact that an Avenger couldn't get a fucking bank loan.
Yeah. That for me is still the most ridiculous shit. Like you really he could have just called Pepper and asked.
Yeah.
And she would have been like, "Wait, you need like $5 million? The cool $5 million? Oh, it's already. I cash apped it to you. It's already in your account. Like, the fuck out of here!"
Yeah. That shit blows my mind.
You could have had Scott Lang steal some money.
Oh yeah. There's a million ways that he could have got.
You mean to tell me that
there's no action figures? Like, you mean to tell me that they're not merchandise?
There's not the Falcon Nike commercial or something,
Yeah, you gonna let the boys out merchandise you,
right? Know? Yeah. Fucking Jonathan Majors, man. Anyway, not to pigeonhole us again, but holy shit, man! They put out this Jonathan Majors snippet from this Good Morning America interview.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a fucking parody for a second.
Man.
It 100% looks like Vought made it.
It does. It 1000% looks like an Amazon series boys.
If it was Homelander sitting there on the couch, I would be like, oh, season 4 is underway. They're already putting out clips. It's the most Homelander fucking Vought interview I've ever fucking seen.
That's not doing you any favors right now, Jonathan. The best thing for you to do right now, man, just lay low.
Yeah, he needs to pull a Kevin Spacey, and we just don't hear from him for 3-4 years.
Fuck, that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, man. Not to make this the episode, but I don't think he ever works again in Hollywood, probably.
And so here's the shitty thing about this, and I say this with as carefully as I can, but man, unless you look into the actual case, you would think that he physically assaulted this woman, which is technically not what happened.
Yeah, agreed.
And I mean, I think that he and his girl are very shitty for one another.
Yeah.
I think that shit got way out of hand. I think that they both need to go sit the fuck down somewhere.
Oh, yeah. They definitely, this is like you go to couples counseling and the therapist tells you to break up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like where it seems that he really fucked up at, besides staying in a relationship with this person and vice versa, was trying to stuff her. It's not funny. Trying to stuff her in a car. Caleb,
you started it. I was fine until you laughed. And now I can't get this very cartoonish image out of my... I'm glad this is at the end of the episode.
Me too.
Only Brendan's going to listen to this part.
But him stuffing that girl into the back of a car, it's not a good look, man.
Well, the text messages and shit are bad.
The text messages are awful too.
Yeah, they're really terrible. It's some really bad fucking abusive, gaslighting shit. It's really bad. It's very much like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp stuff. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for him, he was just on top of the world when it happened.
Yeah.
You know, and not condoning any of it.
No.
But it's just like, you know, if this happened to, you know, somebody who's on a daytime soap opera with their, you know, their spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, then it might make a tabloid or something, but it doesn't blow up. It's not on fucking Good Morning America.
Right.
You know, whereas Jonathan Majors just, you know, it was very much like the Kevin Spacey shit. Like, he was the lead in House of Cards, which was the flagship Netflix show at the time.
Yep. And,
you know, you're going to be in that spotlight. It has its pluses and it has its minuses.
Definitely. Yeah. Seeing Jonathan Majors run away from that girl was also not funny.
God damn it. I have not seen that clip. I haven't seen either of the clips, which is why when you say they're not funny, my brain immediately imagines them in the most cartoonish fucking way possible.
I'm like, Jonathan, like, you're clearly still in Creed shape, and you fucking outlapped that girl. How? But she was so persistent.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, man. But yeah, you shouldn't fucking send those or have those manipulative type talks or text messages. You shouldn't try to stuff bitches in cars, even when they're beating your ass. Yeah, the whole thing was abusive all the way around. It's an Eminem song. Is what the relationship sounds like.
Yeah.
Anyway, I say all that just to say that they should have did a Falcon episode in What If.
That was a trip, man. I don't know. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I think I fell asleep on the plane.
Do I need to get the correlations?
No, I'm sure? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know. Yeah. Okay. One more thing for real. Do you think they recast Kang, or do you think they put him away and move along?
Here's the thing. I want them to say what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
We've already talked on air about like who we would want to cast Kang.
Yep. I mean, I was the front runner, but you know, if they couldn't get me for whatever reason.
Yeah, John David Washington is a good second.
Yeah, he's solid.
But at this point, man, I kind of would rather them do Secret Wars Part 1 and 2 than Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
I would much rather just give me 5 hours of Secret Wars, you know?
Someone mentioned the idea of, like, you get John David Washington to play, like, you know, the Jonathan Majors Kang, but then because he's a time traveler, different versions, you get Denzel to play like Immortus or like an older version of Kang.
That was me.
That was you?
Yeah.
Shit, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh,
so yeah, that is a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Yeah. Bring it up. But it's a lot of money to spend on one role.
Oh shit, that's a shit ton of money. Yeah, and especially like if that's the role you want to burn Denzel on, you know.
Well, you know, some people have talked about him as Magneto or whatever. Mm-hmm. I really feel like he's too old to cast as a role that you want to be around for a really long time.
Agreed.
You know,
I mean, hell, I think like if you want longevity, what's the harm in, you know? I don't know how much Michael Fassbender wants to do it again.
Hey man, nobody would be mad.
Yeah.
And actually, now that we're talking about this, now that this is another comic news episode at the end. The other day it came out, there was an interview with Patrick Stewart. I almost called him Jean-Luc Picard. Fucking A.
Same thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. Just want to mention that David Roddenberry thought he was terrible for that role, by the way. He did not want Patrick Stewart at all. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, fucking morons. Anyway, that'd be like it came out that like George Lucas didn't like Ewan McGregor at all. You know,
yeah. like I don't get this guy.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Fucking Scotsman.
But so he came out and said he was talking about how much he hated the filming for Multiverse of Madness because it was like COVID protocols and like they weren't on set with each other really.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why all those scenes look super fucking weird.
Yeah.
But he said it just wasn't a fun experience or whatever. And then he said that him and Ian McKellen both have future plans as those characters. So I don't know if that's voice work or if Marvel has been in touch. I have a feeling like he wasn't supposed to say that shit.
He probably wasn't, but he's like, fuck it. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I'm Patrick Stewart and I'm old as shit.
Yeah, I'm a knight, motherfucker. What you gonna do?
Yeah, what you gonna do to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, oh, shit, yeah.
So I could totally see them either having a Deadpool appearance or a Secret Wars appearance.
I can definitely see that.
Bro, all right, so just bear with me here. What if they did a McAvoy Fassbender versus the older ones in Secret Wars?
Fucking shit, man. Okay, so we get to a point with Secret Wars where it was like, what the fuck is this movie about?
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they're really gonna have to do something with.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm like, just scrap Kang and give us Secret Wars Part 1, Secret Wars Part 2. Just let it breathe and do it right.
Well, the problem is also, though, you're going to have to start building for it now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, good luck to Marvel and getting all their ducks in a row. Listen, I know Marvel, they fucked up enough on their own. They did not and could not have seen the Jonathan Majors shit happening. And so that is not on them.
But, also, they already ruined Kang.
They did.
So,
silver lining, you know what I mean? It's not like it was Josh Brolin getting ready, for Thanos,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Literally, we saw Scott Lang beat this motherfucker's ass with no suit. And he was supposed to be, the most dangerous of all of them.
This motherfucker said, or heavily implied, that he's beaten Thor's, plural.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Scott Lang?
But regular old Scott Lang, some fucking guy,
Shit. All right. What do you score What If Season 2?
I was trying to remember what I gave the first season. Because I think it was higher than a 9. I think I gave it a 9.3, 9.4 maybe.
Yeah.
It was definitely 9 or up.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, man. If we got into individual episodes, it would probably sound a lot better. But if I got to score the season as a whole, which is what we're doing, I'm going to go with a 7.9 because it's just right there on the cusp of greatness. But it's definitely worth a watch, and I don't feel like I wasted my time. They didn't do anything that I just super offended me. There was no point where I was just like, this is just awful. I'm wasting my time here. Maybe the Hella episode. I feel confident in that rating. I would definitely watch the season 3. I hope they make a season 3. It was fine.
Yeah.
Which, as we've said, these days, and part of it is a disservice to the MCU because when you see that Peggy and Natasha rolling back those greatest hits from Winter Soldier, it gives you that feel. Or when you see the Sakaar stuff, and you see Iron Man doing all this cool shit and the way that he interacts with Gamora and her arc and everything. It reminds you of when the MCU was amazing.
It does. And you mentioned that off mic, I guess a week or so ago when these episodes were first rolling out. And I have to agree, man, it puts you in that place of when the MCU was something to be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that doesn't do them any favors right now.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So
yeah.
Maybe this Echo show, man. Maybe we're on the come up.
Yeah. And again, I promise I'm not going to keep us here, but man, I do. The Echo Show is going to have to quickly serve two masters. It is going to have to appease those who are looking for Daredevil, and it's also going to have to keep us around for when Daredevil and Kingpin are not on screen.
Yep.
And so they're going to have to sell us on that
it
pretty
can't
quickly.
Be the Charlie Cox cameo show.
No. Yeah.
So what's your score, man? What you got?
I give What If Season 2 a 7.3 out of 10. I also still really enjoyed it, man. I would gladly watch these first 5 episodes pretty much whenever. I had a really good time with them. Clearly, I don't think it's as good as season 1, but I do think that there's still some really, really good stuff in this season. For season 3, I need them to go back to the board and really just get creative with your what ifs. Like, you can do anything, even with the characters that already exist in the MCU, you can do anything with them. And so I think that your possibilities are pretty fucking limitless. And so we don't have to go back to, another Captain Carter show, even though I would love to get another Captain Carter episode. I don't need a whole back half of a season focused on her. And honestly, man, I don't need any more creator characters in this TV show either. There's hundreds upon hundreds of characters at your disposal to choose from to tell us cool stories with. I don't need you guys creating more generic characters. We have plenty to choose from. 7.3 for me. That entire second half wasn't all bad. Definitely not all bad. There was some really enjoyable stuff in the back half of that season, but as a whole, if I don't watch, episode 6 through 9 again, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So I think the next thing for the MCU, like we said, is Echo.
It's coming out soon, right?
Yeah. I think they said sometime in January. So
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So there ain't much of that left.
Right. Yeah. So definitely be back again for that. As we mentioned earlier, we will be watching and reviewing Dune. And if you guys are wondering if we mean the one from the 80s or the one that came out a couple years ago, the answer is yes. So that's going to be a fun time.
I'm hyped for that, man. I'm really hyped to get in and talk about that one because there's some really deep themes to that that movie is like very layered because the book is very layered.
I didn't know you liked the 80s movie that much. That's
No. I'm going to tell you now. I've seen the 80s version, and I scored it a 1. and the only reason that I scored it a 1 is because Patrick Stewart is in it.
Oh, shit.
And I could not, he's the 1 point.
Yeah.
He is, to me, worse than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
That literally scares me.
Because the Star Wars Holiday Special is just meandering around doing nothing. It's just filler,
Yeah.
Whereas this is, actively bad.
Holy shit.
It's like if the Muppets tried to make a Dune movie with people in it.
You had me into that last part. I was like, I would watch that, and then you're like, okay.
The Muppets aren't the characters. They're the crew and the director and shit. Yeah.
Fucking shit. Yeah. I'm not ready for that, but I'll make it through somehow, I guess. Well, Caleb, thank you for being on for this episode, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I had a blast talking to you about everything and even what if.
Yeah. Hey, maybe this can be nominated for the We Didn't Want to Talk About the Content episode. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was nowhere near like Captain America. We've been here for 2 hours, and we talked about what if for at least one of those.
Yeah. So that counts,
Yeah. Not Captain America, where it was 17 minutes.
Oh yeah, the 1990s Captain America.
Yeah, 1990, and it won a Homie Award.
Yeah, so and it did. Yeah,
I don't think it's one of the ones you want
to
win, but
no, not at all. God damn, yeah.
But it did win one.
It did win one.
You still get the trophy.
Yeah, you still get it. Yeah. What a fucking movie that was. Holy shit. Okay.
All right, man.
Well, that's going to be all for now. Homies, thank you guys again for listening in. We'll see you again soon. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.